We've had sex pretty much every single day.
Were you protected?
No.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. No, it was off there, but anyway, we're talking about Married at First Sight. We're dealing with Paige and dealing with Chris, but I want to talk about something very specific. I want to talk about the fact that Paige, sex is not the answer. Sex is not the answer. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification up. Lows, we appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded. Whew, guys, I've been really building this one for a little while. I haven't done the video for it for a little while, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to talk about this because I think we are talking about Chris's absolutely horrific behavior in terms of abusive, narcissistic behaviors that he's shown. And one of the things that have also been an issue for me is Paige's use of sex, almost in a way that potentially will utilize and get him to change his mind.
We've had sex pretty much every single day.
Were you?
And I wanted to say this very, very clear for you. Sex won't change him. Sex won't change him. For anybody watching this, sex won't change them. It won't make him change his mind. It won't make him treat you better. It will not give you the desired results that you require and that you are wanting. Can I be very frank with you? One of the things, obviously, the very first time, obviously, it happened, we know that, obviously, Paige was lied to. We know that that Chris was, basically saying, obviously, at the end of the sex, obviously, he wasn't attracted to her. What was an issue here is that we find out, obviously, from the cutscene from, I think, last episode or whatever, that they've had sex consistently without a condom for a period of time. And my question is, like, if you're in a scenario where you're not sure if the guy really likes you, guys, this is a situationship.
I am so confused. I've never been with a man who wants to have sex multiple times that didn't desire me or didn't find me attractive.
What Paige is in is a marriage situationship. Like, it's a madness. Never would I thought it, but it is it. We're in a marriage situationship. You want a certain situation. He wants a certain situation. But you're willing to give up your body for the situation. He hasn't given up anything. He's just taken. And I think this is really crucial. For anybody watching this, sex is not about to make the man want you anymore. Right? And so sometimes sex is used as a bargaining chip to try and get what you want out of that person. I'm not saying, I'm also open to the fact that Paige may be using sex as a way to, you know what, let me get mine in. You know what I mean? Like, I've been abstaining for a few years now, let me get mine in. It's legal, let me get mine in. But my thing is this, but it's drawing you in. So sex is not free. It's never been free. Sex has a way of drawing an individual in to that particular person who they're having sex with. Somebody's about to fall, whether it's Chris or it's her. And I don't think Chris is going to fall. And that's my major issue. In the transaction, there's a loss. Because if both parties are not looking for the same thing, then when sex is used as a bargaining chip, a buying tool, then the person who is selling the sex oftentimes is the one that's losing, because they are bargaining with a chip, okay, that eventually will actually backfire on them. Because you may start off feeling that you're emotionally free from having sex, but emotionally it begins to grip you. Emotionally it begins to get at you. Emotionally you become connected to the person you're having sex with, because he who cares less wins. I'll say it again for you. He who cares less wins.
If he had that conversation with me last night, before we even touch, kiss, whatever, I would have been at peace with that.
If I care less, I win. Because the more that I care less, the more that you care. In order for this transaction to work, one has to like it, one doesn't have to like it as much, right? That's how situationships are. And if I don't care at all, but I'm happy to get some goodies out of you, and you care because at the end, what your end goal is to make me want you, then you care more than I care. And in that case, you're about to lose. Because you can only keep this up for a little while. You can't keep this up forever. And so now we've got Paige in a scenario where she's, unfortunately, yes, at the beginning, we can say that was naive. She didn't realize that he was lying to her, etc., etc. But throughout the course of the show, if you are still having sex, and look, bar it, we don't know what's going to happen in the next episodes. Maybe he's going to change his mind. Maybe he's going to change his behavior. Maybe he's going to come correct. Maybe he's going to be better. But here's my thing. The way that Pastor Kyle has spoken out, Dr. Viviana has spoken out, Dr. Pepper has spoken out, those two have spoken out, sorry.
Well, as a father, it makes me, it's infuriating. Yeah. As a man, it's painful to see that. I can't stop them from having sex. We can't tell them to leave. Paige was given the option and opportunity to do so, but there's still so much left to be seen.
Pastor Cal confirmed that it is a legally binding marriage.
I don't think he gets better, because they wouldn't speak prematurely. They wouldn't speak prematurely. If they knew that he was going to get better, they wouldn't speak prematurely. So for me, I'm going to deduce that and say, I deduce from that he ain't getting better, and therefore he was still showing the same level of behavior he was showing before. And so now, for me, my onus and my responsibility is say Paige, and I want to just say this: whether it was Paige, listen, it's not because she's a dark-skinned woman that I'm saying this. It's not because, you know, of that kind of thing. We're saying this because there's also responsibility. If someone tells you they don't like you once, then they tell you twice. You need to know they don't like you. You don't need to lie to yourself. Whether he's a narcissist, colorist, abuser, hates women, misogynist, whatever it is, he's communicating he doesn't like you. You need to believe him. Pack your bags, Ghana must go, and be out of there. You don't need to be around that, darling. Why? Because they've told you what the truth is. He ain't lied to you. He don't like you. Right? And so, again, I get it. I'm down for making marriages work. I'm down for marriages, going through hard patches. I'm not down for abuse, though. I'm not down for abuse at all. And it's very rare to hear a success story where a marriage is flourishing and the partner started off being abusive.
I don't think that the attraction is fully there yet for me, to be perfectly honest.
And then learn how to love them. I'm sorry, I've not heard that. You are not God. So for me, I do not have hope for this, because the abusive behavior, okay, is a power struggle. That won't stop unless there's a complete 360 injection of some type of information that shows him the error of his ways. He needs a salvational, being born again in the water, baptized all over again kind of conversion in order to see a better reaction from him. And therefore, since we're not seeing that just yet, we need Paige to also protect herself. Having sex opens you up, makes you vulnerable, the Bible says that a man entered her and he knew her. When you have sex, you allow the person to read you differently. When you have sex, it drives and elicits and calls forth from you the feelings, the emotions, the want, the desires, the need to be cared for, the need to be protected and served. It draws those feelings from you. So now we have this whole situation with Chris and Paige, and I'm looking at her and I'm going, listen, Paige, look, someone can abuse you. They can, look, and you don't need to do anything. That's real spit, right? But in this scenario, the autonomy, the power, the ability to have agency is that your body is no longer going to be of access. Your body is no longer going to be of access to somebody who doesn't want to commit to you. Your body is not going to be used and taken advantage of because the person doesn't have your best interest out. So now we've got a whole situation where you are given in and giving him what he wants, but not getting what. And this is how situationships happen all the time. The desperation and the need, the hungry man that is looking for something sweet to eat will eat anything bitter. And so now in the relationship with situationships, some people are just wanting. They're so hoping and wanting with joyous vanity and vainness. When I say vainness, in terms of in vain, I should say even, right? That this is going to change. They live in a fantasy, and they ignore the facts that are put in front of them. That's why when you go through 1 or 2 relationships, you start to realize, life is real. Stop living in a fantasy. You know, if he tells you this, believe him, because experience teaches you that there is no fantasy; it's reality, and the reality is that it's real. Okay, and so now I want Paige to understand that, listen, sis, the sex ain't free. It costs, and it will cost you. And the pain that will come after is greater if you give over your body thinking that you're saving yourself a pain. So I have a term which is that people don't want to experience short-term pain, right? So they cave in, not knowing that the pain long-term is greater. Whereas forbearing and having some pain short term gives you the success and the gains that you want in the long term, right? So if you're sacrificing something in the short term, it is for the long term good. But if she keeps having sex right now, the long term consequences of her actions will come into play, because she'll find herself attached in a way to something that she cannot control, cannot change, that doesn't want her, doesn't love her, doesn't care for her, and will continue to hurt her. Right? So anybody who's in a relationship right now, I want to encourage you, please, I beg please, I beg yeah, I beg make sure that you are able to say to yourself, I don't need this out of desperation. I don't need it if it's not going to fulfill my expectations. If you're not going to do what I want you to do, and when I say I want you, doesn't mean the selfishness. What it means, though, and you need to, and in some sense, you need to be selfish anyway. What it means is, hey, look, I have an expectation here. I want commitment. I want love. I want a relationship. I want marriage. And if you're not willing to give that to me, but you're willing to use my body, that says more about you. It says more about the person trying to use you, that they don't value you. But you must also take that lesson and that understanding and take on that word and say, hey, I'm valuable. I cannot be used for any particular purpose. No. And so I refuse to enter into a contracted negotiations with you concerning my body. You feel what I'm saying? Your body is your domain. It's your sovereignty. You have the power. You have the authority in that land. Let not a guy come in there and dictate to you, a foreigner coming into your land, to tell you how to run it. Don't let him do that. Stick true to yourself. Don't commit treason. Yeah, don't commit treason by disobeying your own laws that you have for yourself. The Persians in the Bible, they'll let you know, when they say it, it's done. There's no reversing. That's why Daniel was in the line of the dens of the lion's den, because the Persians had a rule. When they say, if the king makes a law, it is law. There's no one else can change it. So now when the king said, no one should pray to this or whatever they said at the time, I can't remember what it was, right? And they find Daniel praying 3 times a day. There was nothing the king could do, because he was bound by his own word. He could not commit treason by disobeying and breaking the law. Otherwise, everybody else in the land could then break the law. The same thing with you. Once you said it, let it be accomplished. Once you said it, do it. Let your word be bond. Let your word be law. Man, I'm screaming a bit, innit? I'm just hurt for Paige, and I know that obviously, like, a lot of women go through the same thing, where men don't treat them right, you know, and they play around on their emotions and use their bodies for their own good. Listen, sis, don't have it. You are in control. You are in power. You're in the driving seat. Don't let him bring you into a situationship in your marriage. No. Yeah, I'm all for, like I said, long suffering in a relationship, but this is abuse. This ain't long suffering. And we started off in abuse, so it doesn't make no sense. It's not like you came into abuse. You started off in abuse. That's completely different. This is completely different. So, yeah, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads. Let me say that a bit slower. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads. We appreciate you. Say a lot.